Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Cancer season, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right, my Aquarians, I do have a companion video for this. It's the astrology of Cancer season, so please check that out. But this season, it's such a mixed bag. I know a lot of people are predicting it to be some of the best astrology of 2025, and I do not disagree. However, there is an element of chaos in here that is affecting different people differently. Yours, for the most part, is very positive. However, I've had a couple of readings for, like, specifically Scorpio and Libra that were kind of a bit on the rocky side. So check out your sun, moon, and rising because there's a lot of variety in the season. Sometimes I do readings and it's just like a variation on a theme across each reading for different zodiac signs. This time we have like three that match kind of what the astrology and the general consensus, and then we have a couple that are just like, this one's gonna be really rough. I will say for this one, it's really positive. There's a lot going on. And while I do think there's a lot of undercurrents, there's also a lot of attainment and power and magic in here. So let's get excited. I will remind you, one of the best new moons of this year is happening. It's the Cancer new moon. It's domicile conjunct Jupiter. I'm encouraging everyone, sometimes I'm kind of here or there on only focusing on new and full moons to do magical stuff, but this is one of those ones where the power is going to be potent. So definitely harness that for yourself. Also, we have some cards in here that kind of indicate that you should do this. Then starting off with our oracle card, it is encirclement. Love will flourish. And I also love that the love is protected by thistles, and thistles are a very protective, painful plant. If you've ever been stung by a thistle, it hurts like hell. So love will flourish, but love will also be protected, which I really love. So it's not just kind of unbridled affection, romance, or connection, depending on the quality of the relationship. It's also, a deep protection and care going on, this encirclement, this care. So you are definitely being protected this season. It also feels like you're being protected and guided to find connections that are healthy for you, platonic, romantic, familial relationships. There's a lot of love and care. And I think the important part is to know that you are protected, but also to use some protection in multiple ways. Definitely amp up your magical protection. Anything to do with perception or intuition will be helpful this season to kind of help you kind of sort through what you need. Also, at the end of this season, we are going into a Mercury retrograde, which always brings the kind of corpses of relationships past to the circle. So just be aware that there's a huge opportunity for love and connection, but there's also going to be a need to be, a bit protective of yourself, and also take people's words literally. I find that during Mercury retrograde, especially the Leo one, because we had a similar one last year, people show their behinds a lot during Mercury retrogrades. They think they're being sneaky and coy, and they're kind of transparent. But we start off with Three of Wands. I love Three of Wands. This is about stepping into things. It's about getting the stuff that you deserve, about having the tools that you need in order to progress. So this Cancer season, it is go time, especially with the order of the cards. A lot of times I kind of, when I read them, we're looking kind of like the first few cards being the first part of the season, the last few cards being, the end of the season. The beginning has a lot of opportunity to step into some stuff you've really been wanting. Take those opportunities and go for it. You don't have a ton of wands in these cards. The only cautionary tale I do have, because I do consider the whole suit when I pull one, is take the stuff you really care about. Three of Wands is not about taking everything that's offered to you. It's about taking the things that are offered to you that you want to do and know you want to do, right? So if you have a lot of opportunities, just be really careful, especially about who you're working with. If the people you are working with, if the projects you're on have people that you're really aligned with, that you feel this love and care with, go for it. If you feel like you're going to be kind of high and dry on a project or a thing, don't. Focus on that kind of holistic support system, on everything kind of being harmonious versus I'm going to do everything that comes my way. I think you're going to get a plethora of stuff. And I'll tell you this fun fact that I tell all of my clients when we get into topics of making shifts on a spiritual and external level, is that when opportunities come in, when you have started to really enter into a new cycle, a lot of times we get bombarded with stuff that is kind of to help the universe kind of mold what you want and also see what you're ready for. So don't take stuff that isn't the stuff that you really want. Don't just take stuff to make money. Take stuff to fulfill yourself, to get exactly what you want, because those kind of extra stuff are just going to get in the way of what you truly desire. And the reason I say this partially is because we have the King of Wands. The King of Wands is discerning about the passion projects they take on, about what they want to put into the world. They do not waste their energy on doing everything. They focus on a couple of things to do really well. So, my Aquarians, I do know that you tend to have a lot of interests. Not saying to cut those off, but maybe pick 3 or 4 that are important to you, and cast the others by the wayside. Also, a reminder, because the Capricorns got a lot of fire energy too. Your ruler is now in Aries. Yes, it will be retrograding back in Pisces at some point, but your rulership for the next few years is a fire Saturn. And this King of Wands is very fire Saturn. So this is time to start embodying that clarity and precision and chaos that an Aries Saturn brings. Aries Saturn, especially conjunct Neptune, is about disillusionment and really recognizing stuff for what they are and having appropriate rage when you realize what you've been put through because you were duped. So let yourself flame some people who have been being tricky or manipulative. I do think you're going to get a lot of clarity on people's intentions because now you're working in a more protected space. You're actually meeting people who are more emotionally open and caring. You're going to start to realize the difference between someone who is fake and someone who is real. Um, and it's going to be really important for your progression to maintain this. Now, Neptune and Aries can also cause a little bit of blindness as well. You know, a bit of kind of act before you're aware because your judgment's a little clouded. It's also the opportunity to kick off a lot of really great magical stuff. Just know that there is this very kind of teeter-tottery stuff when it comes to Neptunian things. Also, there is a part of Neptune you're never going to understand. And I think it's important for people to know. A lot of times when people talk about Neptune, they talk in absolutes. And I don't find that talking about Neptune in absolutes really helps us get anywhere because Neptune is not absolute. Neptune is the unknown, is the limitlessness, is art and creativity. Speaking of art and creativity, follow your instincts. Aries is about ignition. Aries is about that beginning feeling that you get when you connect with someone that you're like, this is someone I'm going to like. Or when you start doing something and you're like, oh, this is for me. So a lot of trust and a lot of acceptance of not knowing. I think one of the downfalls of, your Saturn's Neptune conjunction is that it can be a little overconfident and a little overblown, but, you know, there's a lot to be said for the kind of just doing of stuff and just seeing what happens. So definitely balance between the jumping in and the recognizing stuff. There's always 2 sides to every coin when it comes to astrology. Nothing is ever 100% good. Even Jupiter in Cancer is going to have some, tricky spots for some of us. So it is what it is. But know that you have so much power and opportunity, and the right people are showing up at this time. So, be really open and ready to accept them while also having a little vetting process. Then we have the Chariot, very one-to-one. This is Cancer season. I really want you to see what journey you have been on in the Cancerian part of your chart and how these ingresses of Mercury, Jupiter, Mercury's almost done with its cycle in Cancer, but Mercury has been going through Cancer and is at the time of this reading. The Sun, eventually Venus is going to go into Cancer later this year. How are all of these things affecting you? And how are all of these squares to your ruler really affecting you? And what is the journey that you're truly going on? And I love this, and I'm actually going to skip a card to go to the bottom of the deck. Both of these cards, the Hermit and the Chariot, are about a journey. They are about a path of kinds. The Chariot one is faster and has a bit more clarity, it feels like, and moves a bit quicker. And the Virgo one, the Hermit card, is about this kind of slow, what happens when you're on foot and you have limited visibility. And these two are intersecting. So it does feel like there's going to be a bit of push and pull for my Aquarians between this clear, focused Cancerian Jupiter and Cancer journey, and also Mars is in Virgo, and this kind of Virgo approach of doing things a bit slower and more thoughtful and more methodical and having to do things in isolation. Um, Two major arcana cards, both heading the same direction in a sense, but having a different process. So use the process you need for each different part of your life. Don't just paint the whole thing with a brush. And then we have this beautiful one. We have a little Ace of Swords. I also love in this deck that the swords are all cats. It's very on brand for them, a little sharp and pointy, but sometimes very cute and pretty. Um, there are some really new, fresh ideas and thoughts coming your way that are really going to have a lot to say within your journey and your story. It does make me wonder if we aren't at some kind of a crossroads. You know, your ruler is at a crossroad where it's hitting these squares to the full and the new moon. There's a lot of shifting and changing in the world. We have Uranus going into Gemini on the 7th of July. So, what crossroads are you at that is also integrating this story of passion and power and the connections that you have? I think there is a real departure in this season from a lot of the ways that you have done things in the past, but not completely abandoning them, just utilizing them in a new way, which is very exciting. I do think we're going to kind of have a bit of odds between these two different approaches, but I think you can integrate them really well. It's just knowing that your internal journey is going to be really personal and slow. I will say Mars and Virgo might speed that up a little bit. And then your external Cancer journey is going to be very fast. So what is happening on the outside is going to be very different to what's happening on the inside. And it feels like the wands are your outside journey and the swords are your inside journey. Something new is happening in your Virgo internal journey, and something kind of a continuation is happening on your external cardinal Cancer journey. So honor both. And I believe that you have that capability. Honor both. Be really selective about the people you let in, but also, once again, you have to be really open to them. But selective at first, open second. I think there's a really great opportunity for you to create a really beautiful community and really harness your passions this season while also shifting and changing the narratives and stories that are happening internally, which I really think as this Virgo card of the year unfolds, this year is a lot about changing our internal narratives and stories and beliefs to create a better external world, and an external world that people are fighting against. People do not want to let go of the old stories, do not want to let go of colonialism, imperialism, and all these things. When the truth is like letting go of all those things are going to make things really beautiful. It's just not easy. And my Aquarians are really good at doing hard things. And so this is your journey and this is your part of your story to where you do the hard thing in a way that is both really difficult and really beautifully easy. It's kind of the story of every Aquarian I know. There's like such hard things in the center, and then Aquarians, when the time is right, can turn them into something really easeful and beautiful. And I think that that's a wonderful gift to have. All right, my loves, that is my reading for you. We have this above and below story. They're not quite matching in this season, but they're, if you can balance them, they're going to work incredibly well together and create some really beautiful, bombastic external wins and connections and some real internal processing and balancing. As always, please like and subscribe if you like these things, and mi face. And also, pop some stuff in the comments. I love hearing from you. You can find me at the Keen Witch if you want a reading or something like that. If you can't tell, my Jupiter is in Libra. I like money things. I would love to have them, but you don't have to give them to me if you don't want to. Attention also. Don't have to give them to me if you don't want to. But have a blessed Cancer season, and I will see you in a different space and time.